Oh, hi. I'm Robert Moody. I'm the music director of the Portland Symphony Orchestra, and you are here with me right now, virtually, at 50 Monument Square. Welcome to our 93rd season. I'm Robert Moody, I'm the music director, and I'm excited to share with you these online insights to tell you all about the great music coming up this year. Hi everyone, I'm Robert Moody. I'm the music director of the Portland Symphony Orchestra. This is my 10th and final season as music director of this incredible orchestra, incredible organization. So I have to say I'm really more emotional to introduce myself to you in this way than I have been in many years. I'm both incredibly excited for the concerts that are coming up, both the concerts that I get to conduct and the concerts that are going to happen with some of my phenomenal colleagues who will be coming in to conduct the Portland Symphony, and one of them will very likely become the next music director of the orchestra. So as the season unfolds, you will get a chance to hopefully enjoy and celebrate a finale, if you will, with me, some fantastic concerts, and also a glimpse into the future with some great new music and new potential music directors. So I'm going to talk to you now about our opening concert and my first concert of this season. I really wanted to, well, end in some way in the way that I began. So as we were planning this season, my final season, I began thinking about the concerts I did at the very beginning. And a first for me was when I auditioned on the Classics series now 11 years ago. And when I conducted that concert, I chose a piece by a living composer, and we're going to introduce that piece to you again here in 2017. The composer, his name is Arturo Marquez. He's a living Mexican composer, and he wrote what I think to be one of the greatest works of the last 50 years. It's called Danzon No. 2, or I guess I should say Danzon Numero Dos. And this danzon for orchestra is based on a Cuban dance form, the danzon. And even though Marquez is Mexican, he's imagining what it might be like to be in a sultry Havana cafe, and perhaps there's a little combo in the corner playing music. There's a piano, a drum set, perhaps an upright bass, a clarinet, and a violin. And that group begins to play a very wonderful, somewhat slow melody, but pretty soon I guess we could say the joint starts jumping, and really the entire orchestra gets involved, and this sultry melody becomes a really driving, phenomenal powerhouse of an orchestral work. It's one of these pieces, I think, that when you hear it, you'll see it sort of lifts everyone off their seats as soon as we make it to the final chords. Phenomenal piece, Arturo Marquez, Danzon No. 2, and I get to end where we began. It was my audition piece to earned this job at the Portland Symphony, and it's nice to visit it once again with you all. The concerto that we chose for the opening concert was based upon two things, really. First of all, based upon the fact that the Kachmar organ, the mighty Kachmar, one of the great iconic musical instruments and landmarks, really, of the state of Maine, is housed in Merrill Auditorium. And I wanted to make sure we did a concert that focused on and celebrated the Kachmar organ. So we chose an organ concerto. It's by Hans Andreas Stamm, that's a living German composer. And well, the organist, James Jones, Jimmy Jones, and I discovered this concerto basically by looking at YouTube videos of organ concertos. And we looked at the great number, some more established and older organ concertos. We came across this one and really fell in love with it. The organist, as I mentioned, is James Jones. I know him much better as Jimmy Jones, and I can tell you I know this guest artist better than I know any guest artist with whom I've ever worked. Why? Well, Jimmy is my partner of the past 12 years, and it's wonderful to work with someone that you're that close to. And Jimmy, even though he's my partner, I can tell you that it's not just nepotism. He is the real thing. He's done recitals at the National Cathedral, at Spoleto, at Riverside Church in Manhattan. As we speak this summer, he's spending his time in the cathedrals, the great cathedrals in England, in Durham, in Salisbury, and Oxford. So he'll be here to play and perform with the Portland Symphony Orchestra and me this amazing concerto. As I mentioned, we found it on YouTube, so if you'd like, check it out on YouTube. There's a great video of this work. So the final concert on our opening Tuesday classical program is one of my favorite works to conduct. If I were to say, make a list of my top 10 works, this would be one. And in fact, I should mention that this is really a theme to the year. I think that my incredible friends and colleagues in the Portland Symphony Orchestra, on our staff, on our board, as we planned this season and looked at the concerts that I would conduct, they gave me a lot of leeway in really choosing my favorites, sort of pieces of music that were most beloved to me. The Arturo Marquez Danzon, for example, it's a beloved piece of mine. And this, the final piece, Mussorgsky's Pictures at an Exhibition. Probably you know the name as soon as I say it. It's not only one of my favorites, it's one of the most famous orchestral works in the repertory, although it actually started out as a work for piano. Modest Mussorgsky, great Russian composer of the 19th century. He was one of a group that was known as the Mighty Russian Five. So the Mighty Russian Five would be to composition in the 19th century as, say, the dream team in basketball was in the Olympics years ago or something like that. Really an all-star team, colleagues who worked so well together and really inspired each other to make better and better musical compositions. Mussorgsky was primarily a pianist, and so very often he would have colleagues orchestrate works for him. This famous work, Pictures at an Exhibition, and the music is based upon just what you might think. A close friend of his, Victor Hartmann, had recently passed away, and there was a look through all of the Hartmann's wonderful artworks, and he made music based upon these artworks. Several people orchestrated Pictures at an Exhibition, including Rimsky-Korsakov, and the most famous orchestration, which we will be doing, was done quite a number of years later by the great French composer Maurice Ravel. Ravel, the guy who wrote Daphnis and Chloe, the guy who wrote Bolero, he orchestrated this setting of Pictures at an Exhibition. If you've never heard this work live, this is one of the great arguments for live orchestral music. It really will raise goosebumps on your arms and have that kind of just ennobling feel that you can only get with live music. So there you have it, the music for our opening Tuesday classical concert, the first concert of my final season as music director. 3 incredible composers, 2 of them still living, Mexican composer Arturo Marquez, German composer Hans Andre Stamm, a person who I dare say is a phenomenal organist, Jimmy Jones, and then we finished the concert with one of the greatest works by one of the greatest composers, Mussorgsky's Pictures at an Exhibition. See you at the concert.